I want to do the post-spring top 25 because I haven't done it top 25 since my way too early top 25, like the day after the national championship game. And we've had a lot that has gone on since then, right? We've had kids going to the portal. We've had kids come out of the portal. We've seen coordinators get head coaching jobs. We've seen coordinators get fired. We've seen head coaches get fired. We've seen recruiting classes sign. We've seen kids go through spring ball. We've seen injuries happen to those teams. And I think all those things matter in the evaluation, right? So I'm going to reference the January way too early top 25 and tell you about the post-spring top 25. And we're going to start with number one. Number one in January was Alabama. Number one right now is Oklahoma. Oklahoma got really, really good during this spring, adding 3 volunteer transfers. You see what I did there? Never mind. Keith Lawrence, Wanye Morris, and Eric Gray all decided that they want to be Sooners after having volunteered for Tennessee. Okay, I'm going to stop. I promise. But it's so much fun because Tennessee fans and Oklahoma fans, you know what it is. Anyway, Oklahoma's at 1. They got better. They get Kennedy Brooks back. They get Jalen Redmond back. Both of those guys had opted out of 2020, which means that you can go Kennedy Brooks, Eric Gray, or Marks Major, right, at tailback. You've got Theo Weiss alongside Marvin Mims and Jaden Hazelwood. Drake Stoops is on scholarship. The defense feels like it's going to be good, especially that defensive line. With Isaiah Thomas coming back alongside with Jalen Redmond means you can go 4 deep at defensive tackle if you want to with Perrion Winfrey and Josh Ellison. The reason I put Alabama out of the 1 spot, we'll talk about them in a minute, has to do with what they lost and what they gained. Okay, number 2, I got Georgia. Number 3, I got Clemson. Georgia is just a hair ahead of Clemson for me because of what they have at wide receiver, and Clemson just a hair behind because I'm not sure what Justin Ross is going to be. Number 4, Alabama. All right, so they were 4. Clemson was 4, but I got Alabama at 4. The reason I got Alabama at 4 is because Steve Sarkisian is no longer their offensive coordinator, and they brought in Bill O'Brien. I don't think that's trading up. We'll see. The book on Bill O'Brien is Great Offensive Mind, Terrible GM. All right, cool. You don't need to be a GM at Alabama. That's Nick Saban's job. And Nick Saban has a tremendous track record in rehabilitating coordinators, particularly offensive coordinators, whether it's Sarkisian or Lane Kiffin or Brian Dable, who just came through, won national championship, bounced to Buffalo. It ought to be okay, but he's also breaking in a brand new starter in Bryce Young, who is preternaturally talented. But again, new system, new quarterback, not sure what we're going to get out of there. And we'll see what other things are going on in the portal there. Yes, they add Henry to O, but there's some rumblings, right? Some dudes might still want to get out of there. Ben Davis ends up transferring to Texas, for example. So we'll see how it goes. And a 4th spot is not a bad place to be for the defending national champs. All right. Number 5, I got Ohio State, who is a quarterback away. Oregon is going to be defensively led by Kayvon Thibodeau. We'll see if Anthony Brown has the goods there. And then at number 7, I got LSU. As down as I was on the LSU Tigers in 2020, I'm up on them now, right? Because all those dudes that were inexperienced last year are experienced this year. And no matter if it's Max Johnson or Miles Brennan, you're going to have a returning starting quarterback at quarterback. Now, Durante Jones is defensive coordinator, Jake Peets at offensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes, right? Specifically thinking of Durante Jones because they went through 2 or 3 guys that they wanted to hire before they settled on him. Peets gets the Joe Brady seal of approval, but we'll still see how that goes, right? You got Kayshon Boutte coming back. Eric Gilbert is a monster out there. I think that Eli Ricks is one of the best defensive backs in all of football. I expect him to contend, but what we're really talking about is how the SEC West is going to end up, and I think it's going to have Alabama on top of LSU. Then at 8, we got Indiana. 9, we got Iowa State. 10, we got Coastal Carolina. So Coastal Carolina is interesting to me, mostly because a lot of people are not paying attention to what Coastal Carolina has brought back from a team that was an overtime away from finishing the season undefeated in an outstanding game against Liberty, and who is everybody's new favorite darling to be a first-round NFL draft pick, and Malik Willis. We'll talk about him in another section. But they went 11-1 last year. They go 8-0 in the Sun Belt. They're Sun Belt co-champs because their game against Louisiana, which I thought was going to be great, got called off due to COVID, right? Louisiana played them really close, and they're a good football team. We'll talk about them a little bit later. They lose C.J. Maribel at running back, but that's about it? Really? They returned a ton, including Grayson McCall and Javon Lee, right? So, like, they got their pass catcher, they got their quarterback back, they play outstanding defense. I expect them to contend for the Sun Belt Championship once again, and I would love to see an undefeated Coastal Carolina, the Shots, coming through, making a push for the college football playoff once again. We'll see if anybody lets them in. Now, 11, I got Wisconsin. 12, I got Miami. 13, I got Notre Dame. 14, I got North Carolina. 15, I got Arizona State. 16, I got Penn State. 17, I got ampersand U, a.k.a. Texas A&M. All right. The reason I got Texas A&M at 17 is because I see LSU as a loss. Arkansas could be a loss. Alabama is a loss. And then we'll see, right? And we'll see because they're breaking in a new quarterback for the first time in a very long time, whether or not it's going to be Haynes King or Eli Stowers. There's another quarterback that you got to keep your eye on in there, but I don't know, man. Like, you're asking Isaiah Spiller and Anaya Smith to do a lot of work here, and I don't know that those are the dudes to do it for you. And then you lose Buddy Johnson, who is an absolute dude for them on defense. Now, they got DeMarvin Leal coming back on the defensive line. We'll see how that goes. I just don't see Texas A&M having the run that they did last year, though they believe this is the year for them to beat Alabama. And if they beat Alabama, they're going to finish about where they finished last year, which is pushing for a college football playoff spot. Number 18, I got Florida. Number 19, I got Florida State. Number 20, I got Texas. 21, I got Arizona State. And 22, I got Texas Christian, who I did not rank the first time around. But think about this. Texas Christian added Chandler Morris, who scored a touchdown in the Big 12 championship game against Iowa State and is probably their heir apparent to Max Duggan, who is back once again. Zach Evans is a 5-star tailback that I expect to carry the mail for them in 2021. And they just got Shadrack Banks from Texas A&M out of the portal. This is a dude that could play wide receiver, but is probably going to end up playing linebacker. Now, the only dude that I've ever seen be able to talk an offensive player into playing defense is Gary Patterson. The last time he did this was with Captain America, a.k.a. Ty Summers, who was playing quarterback and was committed to play quarterback at Rice. And he said, why don't you come play linebacker for me? Play linebacker made it to the NFL as a Green Bay Packer in his first year. I look at his defense and I'm always looking at dudes, all right? I'm always looking at guys that are playing at the next level. I'm always looking at sneaky dudes that get drafted in the first round, right? Jason Verrett is still in the NFL and still a 49er. Like, that's a big deal for that program. And if you get a guy who was as highly touted as Shadrack Banks to play defense, and you probably get to start him, you're going to play some good football, right? And in that 4-2-5, where those linebackers get to do everything, they learn a lot of pro concepts. I'm excited about what Texas Christian can be in 2021. Remember, Texas hadn't beaten Texas Christian since 2018, dog. TCU was 2-0 the last two times they met. That could be 3-0 by the end of this year. 23, I got Cincinnati. 24, I got USC. That'd be the Trojans, not the other one. And then number 25, I got Louisiana. So Cincinnati dropped for me precipitously from number 7 to number 23. That is how good I think Marcus Freeman is at his job. Marcus Freeman had that defense playing lights out football. Now, some of y'all are looking at me going, RJ, they still got Desmond Ridder at quarterback. Yeah, a dude that has over 900 pass attempts and just 57 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Those aren't outstanding numbers. Like, look at Trey Lance with a smaller sample size, and he's able to do more, okay? That's not a good look for your mans. And you got evaluations that are all over the map for him. But first, can you win the American again? Because I think that Central Florida's going to make a run at you. Houston's going to make a run at you. Tulane's going to make a run at you. Even my alma mater, Tulsa, might be able to take some shots here and there because they felt like they were a quarterback away.